Good afternoon, everybody. First of all, happy Mardi Gras. I hope everyone's out there having a lot of fun. I will tell you, you're not having as much fun as my family's having right now because they're all in New Orleans having fun at the actual Mardi Gras. And that was a commitment that my wife and I made to each other when we moved here 23 years ago. She said, as long as I can go back every year for Mardi Gras. And I said, as long as I don't have to go back every year for Mardi Gras. And it works out perfect. So it's a girls' trip. They're having a great time. They're having great weather out there. So I am keeping suit a little bit and decided to try and have one of our virtual coffees and our virtual coffee with the coach. And I have a very special guest today. So first of all, let me raise my glass here to Miss Lynn Ray. Lynn?
Yes, here's mine as well.
Very good. So I got my New Orleans coffee cup in honor of Mardi Gras today. And Lynn is our guest today. And Lynn is a very, very special guest that we're going to have, we're going to get to talk to today. Lynn is one of those people that you need to get to know. Okay, so if you don't know Lynn, pay attention, listen to what she has to say, and then you need to find her and get to know her because she's a pretty dynamic person. So first of all, Lynn, looking very, very, very nice today. Just want to say.
Thank you.
So let me tell you a little bit about Lynn. Lynn is the owner of Business Telephones Incorporated, or as we like to call it, BTI, and started in 1983. So she's been in business for quite a while. And basically, she can help you with any of your interoffice communication needs, phone systems, carrier service. If you have an issue, she is the person to go to. So, so some other things about Lynn that are pretty intriguing. She's very connected in the community, right? So you won't, I don't think, find anyone that is more involved or takes part in more things than Lynn does, which is great because it's all about small business, keeping small business in the community, and she certainly does her part with helping out with that. So with that said, Lynn is a member of the Greater Shelby Chamber of Commerce, which is where I met Lynn, where we met. We happen to be on a lot of different groups together. So one of the groups that she's involved in is the Entrepreneur Roundtable 1, because there's 2 groups there. The Small Business Group, and then also is a member of the Hoover Chamber of Commerce, and she's actually on the board of directors there, and actually on the leadership committee for the board of directors. She's a former ambassador of the year for the Hoover Chamber as well, and an ambassador now. She's on the board of the Pelham YMCA, and she's also on an Entrepreneur Roundtable for the Birmingham Business Alliance, and that's been since 1998, right?
Yes, it has. Yes.
So very well connected, does her part to make sure she's in a lot of, of the connecting communities, right? So when something's going on, when there's an event, you're usually going to see Lynn there, which is great. So welcome, Lynn. I'm glad to have you. And I'm so glad you wanted to come in and talk about the business. So welcome.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Good deal. So we're going to jump in. We're just going to start talking about the business and kind of give everyone an idea of what you do and how you do it and those kind of things. So tell me a little bit about Business Telephones Incorporated, BTI. What is it you do?
Well, we started in 1983, so we've been in business for a long time. We still do the traditional all the way up through the cutting edge voice over IP, which is everybody's buzzword right now.
Right.
We do anything from hosted to carrier to surveillance. And when I say that, a lot of people do not understand the difference between voice over IP versus hosted. They don't understand what it is to have carrier services as far as bandwidth issues and things like that. So what I enjoy doing is sitting down and consulting with companies, finding out what their needs are, really.
Right.
And then how can I help them meet the challenges of those needs to help them grow their businesses and save money. That's a big, I like helping companies save money.
Well, and I'm sure the companies like you helping them save money. That's
yes.
Right? That's awesome. So tell me a little bit about who is, if you had to say this would be a perfect, match, a perfect client for us, who would that be? What would that look like?
We do a lot of small to medium businesses. Our perfect business is somewhere between 0 phones, obviously, all the way up to about 75. When you get above 75, 80 phones, that's really no longer our sweet spot.
Okay.
So we really like to stay in that small to medium mom and pop industry.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times I can go in and I can show them options, and I always like to give 2 or 3 options. I never go in and say, okay, this is your only solution.
Right.
So when I look at those different options for them, they're like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize I could have all this, but pay this.
Right.
And so that's one of the things that we have been doing. And that's really my sweet point, is the mom and pop, small to medium business.
Right, right. So I imagine, I deal a lot with small businesses too. So I know a lot of them think, well, I can't afford that, right? Or that's for the big companies only. So it's good that you can go in and show them that they're just like any other business, and you can put a package together that they could probably work with, right?
Yes, very much so.
Yeah,
and very inexpensive for them, and gives them all kind of options. And so that's really good. So I enjoy that.
Yeah, so that's a challenge for small businesses, right? Because they many of them are solopreneurs, right? So they're doing it on their own. They think, well, I've got my cell phone, that's all I need. But they want to grow, and it's that double-edged sword of, well, when do I grow? When do I start looking like a real company and being able to do those things? So it's great for me. One thing I love about doing this, being involved in the chamber and meeting people like you, is that as I meet these people, I can tell them, no, you're just like any other business, and you can afford it. You just need to meet the right person that can show you, that's not going to oversell you, right? So you think you don't need, is going to tell you exactly what you need and give you a fair price. And that is what this is all about.
And that's what I enjoy doing. I enjoy sitting down with a company and saying, tell me what your needs are. Tell me about yourself.
Right.
I don't like to go in and go, okay, here's my option. Here's the only thing I'm going to give you. I want to know what your business is, because your business is unique to you.
Right.
You do things that's just the way you need them done. So you may need a solution that gives you the ability to make calls go to your cell phone. And you may need voicemail to email. And you may need to be able to change your auto attendant on a fly anytime you have a need or a solution. And so I like doing that. I like sitting down with companies, finding out what their needs are, and then showing them different options to meet those needs.
Yeah. Okay. So again, the whole purpose, everyone that's listening to this that has looked at some of the other things we've done, is best of the best, right? The best of the best. We only talk to the best of the best. And this lady and her company are one of the best of the best. So you could do a lot worse than giving Lynn a call and finding out what you can actually afford and what you can actually do that would make your business, be more like a business, right? So you're not just walking around with a cell phone and things. So let's stay on that topic just for a minute. So you get small business, and what are some of the things that you see in the line of improvements or for their business when they can actually, incorporate a system like you have, and what are some of the advantages they have with using that?
Basically, you can start out at any time, because on the hosted side now, a lot of times the phones or part of the phones are free.
Mm-hmm.
And so say like you're a small business, you need 5 phones, you need 3 phone lines. Well, 3 of those phones would be free, and the other 2 would actually be amortized interest free over 12 months at about $10 a piece. So that's very reasonable.
Yeah.
Plus, it gives you voicemail to email. It gives you an auto attendant. It gives you multiple auto attendants if you need that. It gives you the opportunity to do what's called Find Me, Follow Me to cell phones.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, I can send it to my cell phone. It gives you a virtual portal that you can go through and make changes. So that's very inexpensive for anyone.
Right.
And your cost, most people don't understand that when you do a hosted solution like that, if you have Charter, I'm going to just say Charter as your service provider, and you have your lines through Charter, those lines come to that hosted provider. And at that point in time, what occurs is the Charter line costs go away, and the hosted provider costs are very close, if not less, than Charter's. And so it's virtually a wash then at that point in time.
Right.
And so where I'm able to see savings for a lot of companies is when I get into bigger solutions. Like, for instance, I had a customer that had 26 locations, but he only needed like 3 phones per location. Mm-hmm. We were able to go in and save him about $70,000 a year
Whoa.
making this change.
That's huge. Huge.
Yes. Yes.
So, did you all hear that? $70,000 a year? Another $70,000 a year? That's huge.
Yes.
Awesome. That's great. So for you, I probably know the answer to this already because I think you've kind of insinuated, but I'm going to ask you straight out. What's the most rewarding part of what you do?
The most rewarding part of what I get to do is build the relationships with my customers, because that's one of the reasons I enjoy the mom and pop. So I get to build that relationship. I get to see and help them fix the needs that they have and make sure that it's a solution that they can grow with both now and in the future.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other thing that's important to me is I get to see them grow their business.
Mm-hmm.
I get the opportunity to watch them blossom as a company.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, that's just really neat. I enjoy that. I enjoy helping people.
Yeah, that's awesome. So if someone has a small business and they're listening to this right now, what's one piece of advice you'd want to give them?
One piece of advice is don't go with the first person you talk to. Talk to other people. Do your research.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many solutions in the marketplace. And so talk with somebody that would even be a consultant, for instance, and wouldn't even put a solution in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
But just don't go with the very first option. I always like to, that's why I give people multiple solutions. I never give them just one.
Mm-hmm.
And they say, oh, we're getting bids. And I always say, yes, please do.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's important that you go with somebody you trust,
Mm-hmm.
someone that has your best interest at heart, and someone that's not just trying to sell you a product.
Right. Yeah. Good.
So
That's very good advice, very sage advice. And like we tell everyone that when we have someone and we're interviewing, we say, the whole purpose of this is to help in that search.
Mm-hmm.
Is to help people understand they do have options,
Right. Right.
And if you're looking to grow the business, if you're looking to add phone system and be more like a business, make sure you speak to Lynn. Make sure she's one of those people that gives you a quote, a bid, and you could do a lot worse. I mean, that we've done our due diligence with Lynn. I know Lynn is going to give you a great deal. I know Lynn is out for your best interest. So that's why we're doing these things. But at the very least, make sure she's on the list of people that you get a bid from, because I think you'll be pleasantly surprised.
Another thing, Johnny, and I don't mean to interrupt you, but I've got a lot of companies who they've got older phone systems and they want to keep them. And
Mm-hmm.
so, I don't walk in and go, oh, you need to get rid of that. Instead, if something breaks, I go, let me find it for you.
Right.
Well, I'll actually find things and find the equipment they need and reinstall it for them,
Mm-hmm.
because that's what they want.
Right.
And so I don't always go to a customer and say, hey, you have to buy new.
Good.
Because some people don't want new.
Right.
It's okay. I'll give an example. I had a gentleman, he had a foundry and he was in his 80s.
Mm-hmm.
And he had an old 182 phone. I mean, it was made in the 70s, okay? But he loved it and it worked for him. And he said, I don't want to pay for a new phone. Can you find me one? And I said, sure, I'll look for one. Took me a little while, found it for him, installed it for him. He was ecstatic.
Mm-hmm.
Because everybody else had told him he had to spend $4,000 or $5,000, and the phone was $125.
Oh my goodness.
So, that's why I'm saying I look at what's in the best interest for you as a company.
Mm-hmm.
And the best interest for you may not be something new. It may be to keep what you have and us just fix it.
That's awesome. So that brings up a good point too. So you don't just sell, you also service.
Yes, we definitely service.
Good.
We definitely service traditional phone systems all the way up to voice over IP. So
Right.
yes.
Right. And for local businesses, that should be pretty important to have a local business, not only sell them their equipment, but also be able to service it.
Mhm.
So,
Yes.
I think that's a win-win all the way around.
And we work the entire state, by the way.
Do you? Okay.
Yeah, we're not just Birmingham local.
Mm-hmm.
Like the customer that has the 26 locations, for instance, he's in Mississippi and he's in Georgia.
Okay.
So we actually went to Georgia. We went to Mississippi. We were in Starkville, Mississippi yesterday. So we definitely service the whole state and a little bit of Georgia and a little bit of Mississippi.
Right. That's awesome.
So yes.
Perfect. Okay. Good stuff. Really good stuff. I'm even learning some more new stuff. That's great. You know? Okay. So we've got people on the edge of their seats now. They want some new phones. They need some new service. How do they get in touch with you?
You can reach me at either 205-988-8297 or Lynn, Lynn, at bticonnect.com. And my website is www.bticonnect.com. And on that site is also some information you can fill out, and it'll send me, and I can do a quote. But again, I will probably call you, sit down and talk to you, and find out what your needs are before I just do a quote.
Right. See? Personal service. You'll get a phone call from the owner. Hello, when does this happen? Right. So you can't get much better service than that. So that's great. Any last minute things you want to make sure everyone knows about the company?
You know, I love what we do. We're out to serve you. We're out to meet your needs. And I just would love the opportunity to meet you, sit down and talk to you, whether I can do the work for you or not. Excellent.
Excellent. So again, you know, I'll circle back and kind of recap where we are with this. And the whole purpose of this is to bring you, the people who are watching this, viable options. And I think just by the nature of the fact of the things that Lynn is involved in, right? Not only does she run her own business, but she's very active in the community, very much involved in the surrounding communities. So what that tells me is that she's a pretty special person, because if she was not doing what she was supposed to be doing, she wouldn't be showing her face as many places as she's showing her face, right?
Oh,
so,
that's true. That's true.
You know, when you see Lynn out and about and a lot of these different things and volunteering and helping out and doing it, this is all coming from the heart. It's all what she likes to do. It's all part of business. So that's the kind of people we want to have on here talking about their business, and that's the kind of people we want you to do business with. So hopefully that helps. And I have thoroughly enjoyed talking with you, Lynn, and even getting to know a little bit more. And actually, Lynn and I are about to head off to a chamber event in about 30 minutes. So I'm going to see Lynn again in person in just a few minutes. But until then, I would like to raise my cup to you again.
Well, thank you. Here's mine.
Yeah. And for our virtual coffee. And maybe we'll get a real cup of coffee when I see you in a half hour, or maybe
That's
a real
great.
cup of something else. Who knows, right? And I thank you for taking the time to come on and explain this, what you do and what your business is about. And for everyone else, I hope you learned something today, just like I did. And I hope you're having a great Mardi Gras. If you're not celebrating, go out and celebrate right now, because you still have some time. There's still about 8 or 9 more hours. You can get a little bit of Mardi Gras in, right?
Yeah.
And until the next time, my name again is Johnny Garcia-Polo, and this has been our virtual coffee with the coach. So thank you, Lynn. It was great having you here.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
All right, bye.
Bye.